I am Father.
My name is Mark Cunningham, and I am Father.
Back against the wall, head still high, push through it all. Father am I, lead by example, but still I gotta follow. Value your seeds, let's promise them tomorrow. Forever I stand, it's never to be a bother. Forever I'm man, forever I'm father. Forever I stand, it's never to be a bother. Forever I'm man, forever I'm father.
My name is Alan Irvin, and this is I am Father.
I'm Mark Cunningham.
How many kids do you have?
2.
2 kids.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
What are their ages?
21 and 18.
Okay. Girls or boys?
Girls.
What sports are your girls playing?
They were cheerleaders all the way up from like 6 until all the way through high school.
Okay.
Now my youngest daughter did play 2 years of softball in rec league. So, but then when she was probably about 12 or so.
Okay. Hey, I hear softball, man. Softball can be expensive for one, and it can definitely give you a full ride through college.
It can be, and it's a lot of work, and it was different.
Okay.
It was a different challenge for her because she just came out of the blue and said, "Hey, Dad, we sitting in the car ride line one day." She said, "Dad, I want to play softball." So I'm like, "Okay." So immediately me being who I am, I'm trying to get on the phone, calling people, say, "Hey,"
trying to figure it out. Right.
My daughter want to play softball. Who do I need to talk to?
Yeah.
Because I love getting on the, anything to getting close to the field, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So your daughters, is it like a 2-parent household?
Yes, sir.
So you was always present.
Absolutely.
Okay.
From day one, I've always been there. My goal for them, I wanted to be that parent that was, that dad especially, that was always there. I didn't want them to wonder where I was.
Right.
And so I made it my business to make sure I was always in their life, and it paid off.
And that was sort of like me, man. I tell you, my dad wasn't there the way that I'm here, for my boys. So one thing that I wanted was, before I had any kids, if I could help it, and there's another story to do what I did to try to help it. You know what I'm saying? But if I could help it, I didn't want to have any kids before I graduated from college and before I got what they call a quote unquote good job, right?
Right.
Are you a stay-at-home father?
I work from home now since I'm a realtor, so I work from home for the past few years.
Okay.
I've been in sales for like 20 years. So.
Okay. And what part of sales?
I did industrial equipment sales for like 15 to 20 years.
Okay.
And then the last 4 years I've been a realtor.
Okay.
So being a realtor, I've been able to work from home and just kind of on my own schedule. And I really like that a lot more because it enables me the flexibility. I've been on college visits and all the different things. It really helped me not to miss anything. Now, when I was in industrial sales, my hours were kind of long, and it was a different ball game. So, but I really like this. It has really.
So, with your hours being long, did that affect you being the best father you can be, or being effective as a father?
It didn't, because I know if it was something going on, I would take a half-day vacation if necessary to make a school function. You know what I mean? Or I worked everything around because I didn't want to miss anything.
So you had that flexibility.
Yeah.
You had that flexibility to be able to have the benefits where you can take, PTO,
Right.
or time off to be there with your kids, which is a great thing. So outside of your industrial job, is there anything else that you did on the side to make sure that you can take care of your girls and your entire family?
Well, my job was good. I mean, I didn't. That was things were good, so it was enable me. It did enable me to do the things I needed to do. Only thing was, again, I put a lot of time in on it, but my schedule was a little flexible, but I was able to make everything I needed to make. Didn't miss anything, and that was the most important thing to me. I didn't want to miss anything. I wanted to be able to. I wanted to make all the school functions I could, because I've always felt like that was important.
Absolutely.
When you see kids, I think one of the most heartbreaking things that I've been able to see is when you go to something and you see there's always a kid there that don't have anybody there.
Right.
And I know that has to affect them some type of way.
Right.
When everybody else everybody else may have an uncle or mom, dad, or grandparent or someone there, but you don't have nobody. That has to have some type of effect.
Yeah.
But just looking at the kids, they might not show it, but I know they kind of think about it, because kids.
They feel it, man, and it took me a while to realize they feel it, because a brother like me, my mom and my dad didn't come to functions like I'm going to functions. You know what I mean? And it's no pun intended, but with me not having that experience, when I started going, I realized that, it's another level to this thing. It's another level to it. Not only is another level to it, but I may have been missing out. So initially on the front end, man, I wasn't going to functions. I wasn't going to the initial when school started. They put out all these emails saying we're gonna have these orientations. I'm like, okay, good. But I wasn't there. You know what I mean? So it took me missing the initial aspects to realize throughout the year, I can do a little bit more.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can do a little bit more, and I started doing a little bit more, but you just don't know that initially because I didn't have it. And I'm like, okay, what's the purpose of the orientation? They're talking about expectations, they're talking about calendars, they're talking about schedule, they're talking about a whole bunch of a gamut of things, you know what I mean? But I didn't know that because, I didn't have it, nor did I think it was important.
Well, I think with me, when I was a kid, I played sports and things coming up in the old days, and my dad worked at night, so, and that was fine, but my mom always was taking us to the practices, to the ball games, and whatever, So I wanted to, and I appreciate everything, my dad was doing, and it was great, and I knew, he was a night worker, so that was cool.
Right.
But I knew when my kids, when I stepped into fatherhood, I was like, I'm hoping that I'm not a night worker. I wanted to, and I wasn't, so which was good. And I was like,
right.
Since I do have the opportunity, I want to make sure that I'm there.
Right.
And so that was one of the goals I set. I was like, I want to make sure I don't miss anything if possible. I can, and I made
Same
like
here.
99% of things.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, since we talking about this yesterday, my daughter just graduated a couple of weeks ago from high school. I sat on a 5.5 hour Zoom call for orientation.
For her college?
Right, for her college.
5.5 hours?
5.5 hour Zoom. Because normally it would have been live, but it was Zoom. So me and her sitting there, we sitting downstairs just chilling and and it was good. Just me and her just sitting there chilling and listening to some information. And of course, a lot of the information didn't apply because she was already aware of it. But it's just the point of me and her sitting there, that time was good.
Yeah.
We laughing and we talking and just the interaction was really good.
And it's important that you were there.
Right.
That's something that she's not gonna forget.
Absolutely.
So have you done any other sports as far as being there for other kids?
Well,
wasn't as successful.
Well, I've done I did youth coaching for 5 years.
Okay.
And a friend of mine that I came across, we was working together, and he had a son coming up, and I wanted to. So we just kind of talked about it, and I was like, well, you know what? That's something I would like to do. I have the time and the scheduling for it. I would like to get into, because in the old days, you know, a gentleman came around and it helped us, you know, the kids from the neighborhood get into
Right.
And it was something I've always wanted to do, and I was able to, when that opportunity came along, I was able to get into it, and for 5 years, and I'm gonna tell you, and to this day, it was one of the, it was rewarding. You know, that's how I met you, and you know, I met a lot of great people, and the main reason for me getting into it was some of the kids. There was some, you know, there was a few kids from the that, you know, from the neighborhood that were, you know, from single parent homes and things like that, and I wanted them to be able to, you know, come out and enjoy the game, and just know that there's someone, you know, this whatever's going on at home, whether it was good or bad, at least you get to come out and see that there's something else, you know, happening here on the field, and it was rewarding for me to be able to have an input on that. And I started out with these kids when they were 6, and so now these kids are freshmen in high school. They'll be freshmen in the fall.
Okay.
And when I see these kids today, you know, it's still, hey, Coach Mark, how are you? You know, that makes me feel good.
Right.
You know, so that was really good. There's a lot of time that I put into it, but like I said, it was rewarding. And I really enjoyed those 5 years.
Right. So you say a friend asked you to start coaching. Was that the only reason you really started coaching? And what sport was this?
It was football, youth football.
Football, okay.
And actually, that was the opportunity.
Okay.
And we just kind of kicked it around a little bit when his son was like probably 4 or whatever, and we talked about it. So when his son turned 6, he came along a couple and said, "Hey, you're still interested in coaching?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." So that was, you know, my springboard into it. Now I did, you know, I had volunteered previously one year. My oldest daughter had played youth basketball one year. But she was probably 10. She only played 1 year, and I just kind of volunteered and helped, and I really enjoyed that little bit with her. Just, you know, again, being out there, and just because I like being on the field or close, you know, I love sports, so any opportunity I get to
be
get
close
to it, I'm in there.
Right.
You know? But it was a good thing, and so then when this opportunity came around, I was like, I'm with it. You know, I want to be able to, you know, just try to make an impact, and I'm hoping that something that I taught, you know, because I was out there mainly to teach different things. You know, I'm going to teach you the football, that what I can teach you on that, but I'm also teaching the teamwork thing and those kind of things as well, which was
very important.
Right, which is important to benefit you when you're 25. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that something that I talked about or said to one of the kids makes an impact on them later on. You know, that was my main goal.
I'm sure. Now we're talking about youth coaching, and you say you started coaching when the boys was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Is that the like the normal
age?
Can they start playing football or sports before?
I know in Gwinnett you probably.
Gwinnett County.
Gwinnett County probably starts at 6. But there may be some other, like probably youth flag or something that
starts before then.
Maybe before then.
So how important do you think it is that kids get in sports or anything? And the way I look at that as them being active, you know, at a young age. How important do you think it is that they stay active at a young age?
I think it's very important because of the lessons that you learn. Because especially in team sports,
right?
You know, you're going to learn the teamwork aspect.
Right.
You're gonna learn to count on your partner. You know, and of course, like for instance, football. You know, football, you've got everybody have to do their job. So one person is not going to make or break what happens. So you know, what you do is going to depend on what your teammate does, and your teammate is looking at you to carry out your responsibility, so that so that it all works out. So I think it's very important to just keep them busy and show them some things that would teach them other lessons. And again, I mentioned the teamwork previously. That's important because again, when you're older, when you get out there in the world after you've gone through, you're 25, 30, what have you, you're going to be more than likely when you working or whatever career path
you're part of a team.
You're going to be part of a team.
Right.
Sales team, construction team, whatever. Wherever path you go down, more than likely, unless you just by yourself or doing something on your own, you're going to be working as a team, and that's important.
Yes.
Teamwork aspect.
Absolutely.
So I think that is one of the biggest things that the kids can learn from that, and it also gives them that something extra to make some extra friendships and kind of like a mini network. A lot of these kids playing ball with all the different sports, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, and what have you, they meet kids when they're 6, and those are the same kids that they are teammates with all through high school. And
which is important,
right? And they meet them, and they become friends, and they may meet 2 friends, and they become lifetime friends.
Yes, so, lifetime friends.
Right, and that's a good thing. So I think it's very important to just keep them active, rather than just sitting at home in front of the TV. I'm old school, so we always got outside and we did sports all year round. So
absolutely, especially boys, man. Now you got girls, but especially boys, man. You have to keep them active. I mean, for me, I got in trouble a lot for being active. Reason being because my mom, she worked the graveyard shift, she worked the shift. She was a nurse, right? So she worked from 3 to 11, and then the graveyard was 11 to 7, and the thing was, listen, I'm at work. You don't go outside. And listen, I'm looking outside. I have a goal right in the street. So back then you had goals in the street, right? You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Car come down the road, you got to get out the way until the car passed. It ain't in your driveway. That's old school, right? So I'm looking out. I'm like, everybody out there playing. I can't go out. I'm going out. My mom was there. My mom wasn't there because she was at work. My dad wasn't there, so it was my older sister, left with all these responsibilities. Like, look, from my mom, wash them dishes. So I ain't wash dishes. I'm going outside. I'm gonna play. Alan ain't wash those dishes. Alan ain't wash those dishes. So I'm on the punishment now. Can't do anything. But I mean, you got to keep us active, man. You really have to keep us active. How long did you coach though?
I coached for 5 years in the
okay.
Yeah.
So you coached when it was 6 all the way up to getting ready
11, 12 maybe.
Yep. Getting ready to go to high school.
Which was good. And
And
like I say, when I still see them kids today, it's like, hey,
they know you, Coach Mark. Yeah.
And it's it makes me feel good to like, hey, them kids remember, and it just gives me a good feeling to know that. And to know that somewhere along the line that I did something good. Because,
absolutely.
Kids are like a sponge. They're going to absorb things, and if you gave them a bad vibe, they're going to remember that.
Yeah.
You're gonna be that person they walk on by, don't say anything.
Absolutely.
But if
absolutely.
But if they come up to you with a smile, that lets me know, hey,
right, that
I did something good that they enjoyed. I can remember one year, I think it was when the kids were 10 maybe, every game that we won, I took the kids to DQ. That was my little thing. Hey, we win, we go to DQ.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids
loved it. I loved that, yes.
I mean, we could be in a game fourth quarter, we had a lead. Kids on the sideline, we're going to DQ. Coach, we're going to DQ.
Right.
So that's kind of stuff like that they remember.
Yes.
And just seeing them feel a certain way, that's important.
So for a single parent or single mom household, a coach, no matter what the sport, because they could be playing football, they could be playing basketball, they could be running track, baseball. Because I played baseball, I ran track, and I played football. And I mean, each one of those sports I was looking forward to it. Right. Outside of the home, I had to wash dishes, and I get whoopings for not washing dishes and not cleaning up. But for me, for boys, man, you had to stay active.
Right.
Had to stay active.
I took a different approach than you on that.
Okay.
When it was my turn to wash dishes, if my mom was coming home at 9, I would go outside, and at 8:30 I run there and wash dishes. That was my, because I was trying, that was the approach I took on. And sometimes I made it, and sometimes she might sneak up on me, and she came home
Get there early.
but that was the way I looked at it.
Right.
But if you got one person at home, it's a struggle. You know what I'm saying? It is. And
you're talking about one parent present at the house.
Right. Yeah. It's a struggle. I mean, even with two parents, parenting is it's full time. Mm-hmm. So if you with one, sometimes you might be running late, or you might not be able to make a practice or make a game, what have you. So
right.
I just wanted to, let the kids know, I would talk to the kids, and it's amazing some of the things that the kids would say. And we would laugh and have fun. That was my main thing. I was more about having fun and teaching the kids to enjoy the game. And of course, we wanted to win, but if we didn't win, it's okay. We still had a good time. And I taught that because life, to me, and life, you're not gonna win all the time.
Right.
You're gonna
gotta be able to take a loss.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to have to take a loss every now and then. But you're gonna try to win, but sometimes you fall short. And then that's not a bad thing.
Attitude.
Right. The most important thing is trying hard to achieve that. Because sometimes you're just not gonna win.
Right.
And I can remember the high school coaches used to do a coaching clinic, and I remember Coach Simpson said once, he said, hey, that he read an article that a coach in 1 year can have an impact on a kid more, if it's a number of years, more than, in 1 year he can have the impact that a parent can have in like 5 to 10 years. Because when you're talking to a coach, it's like, yes sir, coach, and yes sir, no sir, and just they show the coach a different respect than they do the parent. So he said the impact, and that kind of registered, and I really kind of appreciated that.
I think that's 100% true, man.
Yeah.
Not only just a small impact. Me personally, I know coaches to this day that has had an impact on my entire life that I think about. Not only the things that they did, but the belief they had in me. And that's important because I know I went to, in the middle of my 12th grade year, I actually transferred from one high school to another high school, and the coaches there, I know to this day, especially my basketball coach. I know him to this day, and I know him and believe, and he has that place in my heart because I know what he believed in me. He believed in me, and he believed in me to a point where it brought out something in me, and it was just powerful. So I would go as far as to say that a coach can have a lifetime impact on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can remember when I was 12, and that's been 40 some years ago. My 12-year-old football coach. That was probably, out of all the years, I think was the most fun that I had. And I played football from the time, and basketball from the time I was 6, so I was like, 17, 18. So, but that year, the one coach that we had that year, he was really, he just, the way, his attitude, that was back in the day when, when everybody, when you can ride on the back of the trucks and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's all gone now.
Right.
But I can remember him, and that's, he would take us to like McDonald's and things, after the game. So that's kind of where I got the DQ thing from, that because of where, the coach would take us, to McDonald's and things like that. And it was just the fun of that year that we had. We didn't win but 2 games,
right?
But we had fun, and I remember, so just that impact
together,
and the thing about it, he was a volunteer. He didn't have he didn't have back in the old days. It was just mainly a lot of volunteers.
One of the things that I remember is before every game, in Fairfield, we went to eat before every game. The whole team going to eat before every game. We would grub. And I can't remember if it was steak or not, but it felt like a steak. It felt like a steak. And we would go, we would eat, we would get ready for the game, and by the time we play, everything would be, the food would be digested and everything. And that's one of the things that you remember. So, sports for me taught me a lot. Even going to eat as a team taught me, eat as a team, and just the camaraderie we had amongst each other is something that you just never forget. Yeah, absolutely.
At Buford, we had a pregame meal as well when I was in high school, and we would go to there's a little steakhouse that's in Buford. It's not there anymore, but we would go there every Friday. So and we couldn't go home. I don't know if they let the kids go home now or not.
No,
but on Fridays you didn't go home.
Can't go home.
Coach won't let you go home. So
gotta stay connected. Gotta stay plugged in.
And they even bought us these. I remember my 10th grade year. They bought us these little polos. Little gray polos with like a green helmet and Buford on it. So Friday we had to wear the polo. So before every game, we would go down to the steakhouse and have our little pregame meal. And that was just like you were saying. It's just that team thing. We would go eat the meal. We load the bus, go eat the meal. The home game, we come back home. We just hung out in the school until it was time for us to go up to the field house to get ready. Then the away games, of course, we would go eat the meal, and go back, throw our stuff on the bus, and hit the road.
So is fatherhood to you more than just? I want to get your perspective of when I say fatherhood. What is fatherhood? What does that mean to you?
Fatherhood to me means a lot of things, and the words I use at home is that I'm the chauffeur, I'm the banker, I'm the gardener. I wear all those hats with the kids, and my roles changed as they got older. When they were little, I was. I was watching the cartoons and doing those things, and as they got older, those, of course, your role changed.
Right.
When I had to teach them how to drive, man, that was like a whole nother animal.
Really?
Getting in the car with somebody who can't drive. That's you putting your life in danger.
Oh, so you took them on the street?
Yeah, I taught them how to drive, both of them.
I was a little different.
So that right there, and I'm gonna tell you. That right there took my stress level to a whole nother level. Having to start out, hey, I gotta teach. I gotta sit in the car with somebody who can't drive.
Yeah.
And so just doing that, and then 3 years later, I'm having to do the same thing again. So that part, it was fun, and I wanted to teach them. I had to show all kind of patience, man. That taught me some patience that I didn't know I had, because I didn't want to scare them by being upset, and when they about to hit somebody, I was like, hey, hey, can you kind of he's over here.
I'm gonna tell you what I did. Cause I wasn't having it. Look, on the street, you ain't ready for that, dog. You ain't ready for it. I took him to the closest church parking lot. I took him to a church parking lot, man, that, well painted. The parking lot was well painted with every slot. I'm like, look, okay, so we gonna drive around here. Yeah, let's take a few laps. We took a few laps. So, okay, we're parallel parking to this spot. That's well painted. No car. He come out, hey, back up into that. He's like, I'm like, look, man, dog, you done knocked the hell out of that car right there. If it was a car there, you'd have been, hey, come on now. So did that a few times and it worked out, man. It was, but that was my approach. I took him to a church parking lot on a weekday. That's not a Wednesday, Saturday, or Sunday. On a weekday, it's like, look, let's get it. Yeah, but it was going out on the road. That had to take me a minute. it
was
took me
tough.
a minute.
I started him out in the business park, which was minimal. Traffic minimal, and in the business park. I am Hamilton Mill actually. So with the business park, we started out there, and we just kind of, after we do laps in the business park. And I'm telling you, the first time I got on the road, man, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm a little more patient.
And my daughter told me, she said, Daddy, that brake that you're mashing over there doesn't work. So, and I had to laugh, but I'm telling you, I was scared to death.
I know it, man.
And I remind them of that all the time. Hey, y'all about to kill me teaching y'all how to drive.
I know. I'm sure you was a lot better than your wife, though.
My wife didn't.
She couldn't do it.
She couldn't.
I mean, most women can't do it, man. They can't do it.
I'm giving you that. That was on me. I did both of them. And I went out and bought these cones to teach them how to parallel park. I went out and bought these cones, and I would take them to the old gym, the old Beaver gym in the vacant parking lot to teach them how to drive. Yeah. So I retired those cones. They're in the garage, waiting on some other. So there's some other dad that really stepping the road. He's about to take the cones off my hands, but I'm done. Right. But I'm telling you, it was one of those things though where we kind of got close. We got closer because they look forward to it, and when every evening, it's like it got to the point, Daddy, we're gonna drive today. And there were some days where I'd be like, man, I really don't want to, but since they were excited, I was like, I better go do it. So that was one of the things, and we got past that, and then now we're on to the and now since they're older, my oldest daughter, she's 21 now, so I moved her twice to two different, her first year, she's at UGA, so the first year I moved her to an apartment, man, and that was when I packed the car and drove up to Athens. That was one of the saddest days.
Really?
Yeah, of dropping her off, helping move her little apartment, set the little room up all nice, but I'm telling you, I didn't let her know it, but I was really sad. Really? Because when we left, I'm like, man, she ain't coming back. She ain't coming with me. Right. So, I was cool, but I'm telling you, I was really sad. Yeah. And what was really crazy is, she had 3 roommates, but she was the first one there. The other 3 hadn't made it yet. Right. They come in all the time. So I was thinking that, okay, I was like, well, if the roommate's not here, you gonna come? I said, no, I'm gonna stay. And I was really, really like, she's gonna stay by herself, It took me a minute.
She was ready though.
Yeah, she was ready, but I wasn't ready mentally.
But you equipped her.
I gave her the tools, and I did everything that that I knew, but I was just still, because she's in this apartment, and I'm here in Beaufort, and she's in Athens, so I'm an hour away, and so it took me a minute to get adjusted to that, and then every time she would come home, I would want her to stay, and So then eventually I got to the point where, okay, well, she's gonna, and I would even do things like, hey, if you stay, we can go do this. You stay an extra day.
Trying to set it up.
Trying to, some robbery going on. So
right.
Now the second year, she actually, I moved her to a different. She moved to a different little apartment. Of course, she had three new roommates then.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved her there, and it wasn't as painful as that first move.
Mm-hmm.
But because the first move but this was a little better. I felt better about okay.
It's good that you're there though. You know what I mean?
I mean,
for me, my son, when he come home, man, I know he want to kick it with his boys, and he want to do this, and he want to do that, and so I have already set myself to be like, this. I might not even see this dude. You know what I'm saying? I might not even see him, and I know he got stuff going on. I know Father's Day was coming up, and one of the ways he convinced me to get a ticket was like, Dad. He was like, Dad, I know Father's Day coming up, and I want to come down there. I want to be with you. What? Okay. That was enough for me. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this snug right here. He is not. I'll probably see him on Saturday. Father's Day Sunday. I might see him on Saturday. But and I was good with it, man, because when I was in college, I just wanted to kick it, man. I know he wanted to kick it. So I felt like, as long as he here, I was gonna be happy. You know what I mean? But he did a lot more than I expected. We went to dinner. I'm like, okay, dog, you doing it? But yeah, man, gotta let him go. Gotta let him go. And to me, you having girls, that seemed like that was a challenge to you.
It's tough, man, because again, I'm old school, so naturally, you feel like you want to try and protect and always be there, but really in reality, you have to say, okay, well, they're gonna move on. That's the natural progression, of life. To say, hey, kids are gonna move on and find their way, and which I want them to do. But one thing that I've always done, that I never took I talk to my kids like I'm talking to you, right now, and I've always taken the real approach. I never sugarcoated anything. I always told them.
I believe in that too.
I always told them the way things are real. The real thing. Hey, this is the way it is.
As a father, you got to do that.
I never lived in the fantasy thing. I was like, okay, well, hey, this is the way it is, and just told them everything. I always used to tell them, hey, as they were coming up, whether I was 35 or 40 or 50 or whatever, I was like, hey, I was 18 one time, I was 16 one time, so I know, I did pass that. Along the way, I want you to know I did pass that age. I hadn't always been the old dude. So I just taught them all that stuff, and I always kept it real with them. I never told them I called it the fake stuff. I never said pretending. You
gotta keep it real with them.
I always kept it real.
Gotta keep it real with them.
And to this day, they will, they'll tell you, and it makes a difference. It makes
a big difference, man. And it's funny you should say that, because I am exactly 3 years older than my son. So I always tell him, I was like, look, dog, I'm 3 times your age. Always. I don't care what age he is. I'm always like 3 times older than he is. You know what I'm saying? Because if he turn a year older, I'm turning a year older.
Right.
So I always put that in front of him. I was like, look, you can't get that past me. I've been your age 3 times.
Right.
And then he had to think about it. It was like, Dad, you said that 5 years ago. Yeah, I was 3 times 5 years ago.
It's always been a challenge, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, like when my daughter started dating, you know, she's a young lady now. So I'm like, man, that was, you know, a whole other thing. And I can remember the cat coming to the house. Mr. Cunningham. And I'm like, and I'm giving him the stone face. You know, and because I relate that to back in the day when I'm 18, 19, sitting in some dude's living room and he, you know, give me that stone face.
Right.
Yeah, okay. And, you know, so I've always said that was the way I was going to approach it too.
Right.
And I still do that, but inside I'm laughing, you know, but really I'm, you know, trying to keep the serious
composure,
look.
trying to keep that composure.
Okay, you know, but it's just one of them things, man. As a parent, like I said, all we can do is try to prepare them, give them what they need, and try to cover all the bases. You know, of course, some things you're gonna figure out on their own, but what we can do is just, and what me and my wife have done, just try to give them everything they needed, and of course, like I say, some of the things they're gonna pick up on their own and figure out on their own. You know, I want them to have their own minds, and we can have discussions, man. You know, we can sit in the house and have discussions. Right. And I always tell my kids, look, you don't have to agree with me all the time.
Right.
You know, I want to know what your opinion is about whatever. I don't want you to, you know, you don't have to agree with me just because I'm dad. You have your opinion because I want to always be here. You know, I've always said that. So, hey, I want you to be your own person because that's who you are.
Right.
You know, I don't want you, you know, I want you to have your own personality, your own everything. I want you to remember
something. You gotta have your own mind.
Yeah, your own mind. I don't want
you gotta have your own mind.
I don't want, you know, you're not me. You. So.
Right. My question to you is, I mean, what's been the biggest challenge? Because you ain't have to go through baby daddies, you ain't have to go through stepdaddies, you ain't have to go through stepkids. You didn't have to mesh a family together. You started your family, and you made your family work. What has been the biggest challenge for you when you didn't have to be concerned with external aspects or external relationships or external baby daddies or baby mamas? What's been the biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge for me
as a father
has been just the change from when they were small to now. You know, when they were small, of course, you know, you got them and everything that they're going to do what you tell them to do. And as they got older, they, you know, the different stages as they started doing their, you know, getting their, you know, get their own thinking, their own minds. So the biggest challenge for me was to ease back a little and say, hey, okay, I can let you go that way. I can let you go left because that's where you want to go. So that was the biggest challenge for me. And each little stage as they got older, it was always like a new challenge for me to
allowing them to be their own self and trusting that to be good. You know what I mean? Trusting that to be, and really that's I mean, it's hard for you because you don't know nothing else, but that's really easy. That's really
it was tough, man. I mean, and I joke about it a lot because, like I said, my roles changed. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, I'm not the chauffeur that much anymore. I'm more the banker. So, you know, so that it's just the roles change, and I think for me it was that, and just, you know, teaching them and just getting along with them and going down that road. I think that was just the biggest thing in the different stages that they grew. I had to kind of, you know, go along. Yeah, you had to grow too. Right, I had to grow too. Absolutely. Because, okay, how do I handle this? How do I handle a teenager as opposed when when you're 4 or 5, it don't matter. You're gonna do basically what I tell you to do. Right. And I'm gonna guide you. But now when you're a teenager, when they grow, they got their own mind, and you really got to
you really got to allow them to grow. You got to allow them to become who God wants them to be, which is a good thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
good stuff, man.
Yeah, that has, like I said, and I've kind of like embraced all of it, but again, it's been challenging, man, each way.
Really? So it's a challenge either way.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Well, I appreciate you coming out, brother.
All right, man.
And I know every father journey is different. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And your journey is gonna help some folks.
I hope it does.
I appreciate you, my
All right,
brother.
man. Thank you for having me.
All right.